I know. I feel bad that we are tardy. That is all my bad.
I know. And the good thing is that our 10 million viewers are so patient. I've never met 10 million more people that are more patient and kind,
10 more.
loyal than our followers.
Yes. Well, and luckily we also do this on a recorded basis also. So
yeah, everybody can catch up later and be like,
which,
you know
by
what?
the
If
way, I don't know if you saw the new background that I made, but it's very attractive and it's very orange. Just so you don't want to clash.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay, the new background for what?
For Scrutiny went off for the recorded version.
Oh, okay,
I mean,
gotcha.
you can't see it right now, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen that yet, but I'll watch for it. That's exciting.
It was starting last week.
Okay.
I like it. Like I actually went and looked it up to watch it. Like, oh, it does look good. So
Very good.
shared it on my page. Did you share it on your page?
I sure did. So that all my peeps can join in. Welcome to another episode of
Scrutiny with Cheri and Andy.
I'm Andy Vargo, and this is my bestie,
Cheri Hardman. We decided to do something.
Yeah?
Andy Vargo and I will do anything for attention.
Yes, we will.
I'll tell you what I did. My nails, my hair, and my nails, my hair.
You gotta give yourself credit for all the things you do.
I'll tell you what I did earlier, later.
Now I don't know when it'll happen.
Earlier. And we're here to discuss my nails, my hair, and
being the best at no matter what it is that you're doing. Now I don't know when it'll happen. Got it.
Yeah.
So recording and we're live, and this is so exciting, Cheri.
I know.
Been looking forward to chatting with you today.
I know. I feel bad that we are tardy. That is all my bad.
I know. And the good thing is that our 10 million viewers are so patient. I've never met 10 million more people that are more patient and kind, loyal than our followers.
Yes. Well, and luckily we also do this on a recorded basis also. So
yeah, everybody can catch up later and be like,
which,
you know
by
what?
the way, I don't know if you saw the new background that I made. But it's very attractive and it's very orange. Just so you don't want to clash.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay, the new background for what?
For Scrutiny went off for the recorded version.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
I mean, you can't see it right now, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, I haven't seen that yet, but I'll watch for it. That's exciting.
It was starting last week.
Okay.
I like it. Like I actually went and looked it up to watch it. Like, oh, it does look good. So
very good.
Shared it on my page. Did you share it on your page?
I sure did. So that all my peeps can join in. So Cheri, so good to see you. What's up other than your hair's new?
Yeah, I got a haircut and she took you probably can't tell, but she took 2 inches off.
Oh, wow. That's a big difference.
So it is. And it just brought the liveliness back to it. So
it looks good.
Of course, I've been just stuck in the house.
Yeah.
So I haven't gotten to floof it up and go any, this is the first time I'm unveiling it.
Well, I'm glad that you're feeling better.
Yes, me too. I gotta say to everybody that for the last, how long now?
I don't know.
Somebody in my house has been sick or I've been unable to go to work or something. Good 2 weeks now.
Yeah, because I know you had someone sick all of spring break or most of it. And
Dave was sick.
This week, it's just been.
Dave was sick, then Dave got better, then Dave got sick again. There's been someone with COVID at Andrew's day program, so he hasn't been able to go.
Yeah.
So even I couldn't go to work. Even when Dave was home here sick, he was so sick, I couldn't leave him with Andrew.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was too sick. So
you got sick of Dave being sick.
I got sick of everything. Yeah. So I need to get out of the house is what I'm saying.
Well, if you're bored tonight, I'm hosting karaoke down at Odd Otter.
Oh, that could be fun.
So, I know if you're working tomorrow, it might be a little late, but that's going to be fun. So that was
When does that start?
9:00.
9:00. Okay.
Yeah. So that was one of those things where it was like someone needed the night off, and I was like, I saw it early enough. I was like, I'll do that. That sounds fun. And I was kind of thinking about going anyway. So that'll be fun. So peeps,
yeah,
you're catching this on Thursday. Come on down to Odd Otter and hang out. And also, if you're watching this right now or before 11:45 tonight, vote for Odd Otter on Peaks and Pints Instagram page. They're doing a kind of a contest, pitting beers against each other in these brackets, and then you move up. And we passed the first one a couple weeks ago on the 10th, and then today is bracket 2. So you have to go to Peaks and Pints story and then click through till you see Odd Otter versus somebody else and vote for Odd Otter.
I know I did, and then I was like, am I supposed to keep going?
It only lets you do it once.
Well, then there was like another one right after.
There's other breweries, but
like, do I have to keep voting for it to be?
You have to vote on the one. It's just 1 versus 1, and then whoever wins each of those 4 will be against each other.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you have coming up? What do you have going on? What's been going on other than the sicknesses?
I don't know, but I got Monday. We have Odd Otter.
Yeah, that's gonna be fun.
We got Simon Kaufman. We also have a guest comedian from, I'm not sure where he's from, but he's done a dry bar special.
Oh, nice.
He has some interesting credits.
Yeah, I saw him on there, but I didn't recognize him from being around.
Yeah. And so sometimes people send me videos a lot. Not a lot, but they do, because I'm a producer or whatever. And I often watch 1 minute of it and go, what are they thinking? And then I just give up. But like this guy, it was like a 1 minute of it, and I was like, oh, I don't even need to watch the rest. I can tell he's good.
Oh, nice. That's good.
So I just like everything he will say will be a surprise to me as well.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I could tell he was funny. So yeah.
Yeah. I need to get a new updated submission video. I don't really have a good crisp. I have some good sets out there, but not the one set that I want to use for submissions, and not like, how it is. We've talked about this before together, but how you have a really good set, but you don't have the best recording of it, or you have a really good recording, but it's not your favorite set. And
it's been a nightmare for me, really, to get a perfect set, because like I'll have a set but it's like from last year, and then it's like, oh, they've seen that one, I need a new one. So you're always having to get new recordings. And then like I got a really good one from Nate's, but then the people that were maybe recording and sitting by the camera decided to have a conversation right in the best part of my set.
Oh gosh, that's so
funny. And then I have realized from watching my sets that I do say weird shit in between my bits that I really wouldn't want on a submission video.
Gotcha.
So, but in my defense, I didn't know.
I guess.
I didn't know they were recording me till it was all over, and then he offered me the recording.
Oh, okay.
But still, I should be a little more, I don't know if I want to say professional, but I'm a weird person, so I say weird stuff. So,
but that's also part of the humor and part of connecting with the audience, is those moments that aren't the perfectly planned set.
That's true, but it still doesn't look good on a submission video.
I've been listening to these CDs about how to put a good keynote together and stuff, and I'm just going back to the basics on some stuff just to hone my skills more. And one of them, this gal who's very, very well established, who does this class, she says it's more important, or it's better, to be personable than perfect. And just the whole idea of like speaking when you're doing your speech, and people get caught up in having it word for word exactly right and beating themselves up. Oh, I said this instead of that and whatever. Well, it's actually better that you connect with the audience more than anything.
Yeah. So I was going to say something about that. But I do want to bring up, and I don't know, I did not make a big deal about this, but I think I did tell you that I submitted my video to a lot of new people yesterday.
Oh, yes. You mentioned that you had sent out quite a few. So that is exciting. That's a huge
It is.
step, because that's not easy to do.
I know, because I said something I was talking to Mike Hansen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you and I talk about this all the time, but I said something to him. I'm like, man, I've got, my bookings are very low right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not really sure why. And he just goes, well, have you reached out? And I was like, fuck
yeah. I know. Well, that's not what I want to have anybody ask me, because then I have to say, no, I haven't. And then I have to look at my own
fault. Then I was like, okay, I better. And he said something about the list of producers in the Northwest Comedians thing.
Oh.
And the last time I looked at it, there was just a few, I had listed Odd Otters and there was a couple others, but this time there was a lot more. So
is it quite full now? Okay.
threw my, video into the hat. And but like sometimes like my submission video might be 7 minutes and then somebody wanted at least 8 minutes.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
So everybody wants something different. But
that's frustrating. I ran into that when I was looking for an agent to get my book published, and every single person, I don't know if it's a control thing or just whatever, but they all have very, very specific ways that they want it submitted, and not just the order or the length. It's like, I want a synopsis of your book. I want what you have in mind for your marketing plan, what you like. They want this whole thing, but everybody's was so different in what they wanted that I submitted to about 15 agents. And then I was like, I'm not going to put a ton of time into all this, because this is just, I'm going to publish the book either way. And an agent, maybe I'm not even sold on the fact that I want to use an agent or a publisher, but I'll consider it if somebody wants me.
Right.
So but yeah, when we got a booker and it's like one wants 7 and one wants no more than 5 and one wants, it's like, how many, like, do they have any idea how hard it is to get a good tape, let alone a specific number of minutes that are not standard? It's one thing when it's a 5 or 10 minute set, but.
Right. So there's all that going on. I've gotten a lot, I started my new podcast, Diary of an Expo, and I've got the episode all ready to release, but I'm waiting for my theme song.
Perfect. Yeah, I remember you said
says he's having a little trouble with it, because I probably shouldn't have done this, but I sent him a couple songs that I was like, this is kind of like what I had in mind for the theme, just something, and that I think messed him up. So, he's got an idea for something, but it's not, I'm a little bit, I don't know if you remember with this, I was several times sent him back to the drawing board.
You're a little,
I just want it the way I want it,
Well, it's also representing you, so you want it to be, you don't want to cringe or roll your eyes or think, I just not quite what you want to match your vibe. And
he's so good about it, and I'll just have to pay him a little more this time than I have in the past. So, but I'm excited because I put out feelers for previous episodes. I have 3 that I'm going to be recording like the next week. So that'll give me 4 episodes loaded up that I can release one at a time.
Nice.
But I've got several emails of people with some interesting stuff they'd like to talk about.
Well, that'll be fun.
Future. So yay.
Yeah, it's always fun to do a new venture and see how it comes together and where the conversation goes.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Very cool.
Did you watch or eat anything great this week?
I didn't. Okay, so I watched one thing this week and I wasn't that excited about it. Which was? I think I mentioned this to you. I watched the beginning of season 5 to Mrs. Maisel on Amazon. And I really liked that when it first came out. There were some things that were just over the top where I'm like rolling my eyes about it, but that's how TV is. And then it's like every season I feel like it's just gotten worse. Or like so much more unrealistic, I guess. Like to where I think it stopped at season 2 or 3. So yeah, I agree. It got so over the top about this woman who's just so self-centered, and I don't know. So it's been harder to watch, but I kind of want to finish it just to cross it off the list. And there are some aspects of it that I do still enjoy, or that I have still like certain characters or whatever. So it's not a complete, walk away from yet, but it is one of those like, okay, if I didn't know that this wasn't the last season, like this is the last season. If I did not know that, I probably wouldn't keep watching it, because at this point it's like maybe a few more episodes and all.
Right. So. I haven't been watching anything I'm thrilled about either. I'll tell you what I have been watching, and then I'm trying to find good documentaries, but I've already watched, I think, every documentary there is. So I'm always searching for something. And then I don't know if you know this, but you can go on Amazon and look up documentaries. And there's just all these crap documentaries that people probably self-produced or whatever that they put on there, and just like, it's hard to tell, like, is this legit or is this any good? So I've been watching, this is my two things I've been watching, and I'm not proud about either one of them. One, I've been watching Love is Blind on Netflix.
Okay.
Just horrible. Have you watched that at all?
I love you, but no.
Like, they go into this place.
Reality TV, isn't it?
Yeah, and they go into this place. They're going to go in there and they're going to pick who they're going to get married to within like a week or something, or 2 weeks. I think it's only 9 days or some just horrible, And then they go in these like little rooms where they can't see each other and talk to each other. But it's just like, oh, I'm so in love with you. It's just like, I've never known this feeling before. I'm like, you've been talking to him across a wall for 3 days. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that's really kind of it's like a disturbing, example of what's wrong with the world today, with like what relationship wise, and how relationships are set up on the wrong thing, and how lonely people are because they don't have real connection. So then they have any inkling of that, and they just don't even know how to handle it because they haven't been having conversations.
Right. Well, and also just their idea of what a relationship is like, and they're on that, like, the stuff I probably would have said about Dave when I very first started dating him would be very different than the stuff I would be saying about him today. Not like I would say good things then and bad things, but it's just like you don't really know. You don't really know the person, and you're so googly-eyed that you just think everything is perfect about this person. It's just ridiculous.
I have a situation right now where I'm managing my googly-eyedness. Because there's this gentleman I had a little connection with, had a drink together, and I felt like, oh my gosh, I feel like we had a connection. And then I was hoping I'd see him yesterday, because the event that is weekly that I saw him at, he wasn't there, and I was like, oh crap. But it didn't crush me. Like in the past, I would have been, oh my God, like that was supposed to be the thing. And I was really just, well, if it's meant to be, it'll happen. I'm like really mentally in a good space right now where, if it's meant to be, it'll happen. And also, like, I was driving down the road today thinking about it, and it was like, I'm not trying to say I want to marry this guy, or I want to, like, commit to long-term relationship even. It's, I don't know if he's a jerk. I don't know if he's narcissistic. I don't know if he's eats a bunch of weird foods that I don't even want to watch anybody eat. Like, there's just all these weird random things that I don't even know yet. The guy could be a slob behind closed doors, could be controlling. All I know is that there's an attraction, there seems to be a connection, and I want to learn more. And so the problem is, I feel like we jump from interest all the way over to infatuation. Like, we skip interest altogether and we just go, I'm infatuated with this person because they looked at me right. And I've made that mistake, and I've done that.
Right.
And so we don't do any of the exploratory stuff. And then all of a sudden we find out the things where we don't mesh. And it doesn't even mean the other person's a bad person. It's just not in line with us. And then we're pissed off. We feel betrayed. We feel hurt. We've lied to ourselves. So we're just like, oh my God, I can't believe this was supposed to be the one. And why me again? Why am I in this situation? It's like, well, maybe you built it up a little too much before you even knew any of the facts.
Well, that's like, there's one guy on the show he was in love with two of them, and he just couldn't choose. And then he would talk to each one about each other, and I'm like,
oh wow,
that's such a thing. That would be enough to make me run away.
Yeah, if I was one of the others, I would be like, hey, if you're having a hard time choosing, I'm out. Go pick them. Especially if you're openly talking to me about it. Like, it's one thing maybe early on where you're thinking, okay, I went on, I had lunch with this guy and coffee with that guy, and I want to pursue one or the other, but you're not going to talk about it to the other one. Like, well, here's how you're in the front running, and if you play your cards right, you can have this wonderful prize.
I know. Well, and then he had this special teddy bear that he had when he was a kid, and he didn't have a mom or something like that, and this teddy bear was like his everything as he was shuffled from place to place. And he gave it to one, like, you can give the people on the show like stuff to put in there for the other person to have or see. And he gave it to one of them, and then and then when he gave it to the second one, she said, "Did you give this to so-and-so too?" And he said, "Yeah." And I'm like, oh, if I hadn't dipped before, I would have dipped right then. Like, here's something really special to me, but I give it to everybody. So
yeah,
anyway,
it really undermines that. Yeah, like, what is the value of it if you're that willing to just put it out there like that?
So I can't watch much of that show because I get really frustrated with it. It's just I can't find anything else to watch right now. So if anybody has it, people recommend stuff to me, but I never like it usually. So the other thing I've been watching, and first of all, why does everybody hate Dr. Phil right now? I miss like that whole dialogue.
Dr. Phil debacle?
Yeah, everybody hates Dr. Phil now that he lost his show or whatever. And
he lost his show?
No, I think so. Yeah, and everybody just has really been vilifying him. And I'm like, what did he do? I don't know. But so I've been watching old episodes of Dr. Phil because it's very satisfying when he gets to the part where he yells at everybody. He'll first, he takes the information from everybody. And then right before he offers the help and the solution, he just yells at them all. And so I watch it up to the part where he yells at everybody, and then I just go watch something else. It's very satisfying.
Oh, you don't watch the part where he yells at everybody?
No, I do. I watch the part where
then after he yells,
I just don't watch the help part.
Oh, gotcha. The aftermath. I see. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
And I haven't really eaten anything impressive either.
Yeah, I was trying to think about that because I have not so much nothing new or different, and I'm trying to decide what the next thing I'm gonna jump on.
I know, maybe we should go out somewhere, that we really have never been. We can think of some place, try their food.
So last night I almost went to. I was at Trivia at Otter where I thought I might see my beau, and it didn't happen. And I wasn't I still had a good time. It was fun. Visited with other people and hung out with the table of other regulars that are friends and stuff, and that was fun. And then left, and there were two places on the way home that I thought, I wonder if this is one of those things I should stop in one of these other places and get something different. Like there's a taco place or there's another pub, and I thought, which I haven't been in either of them for a while, and I thought, oh, I could do that. And then I was like, no, I don't want to be a stalker. Like I want to be like trying to go to a place where this person might be. Like, if something works out, it'll work out. I'll go to those places other times. I won't never go.
It is good to know that you do have a stalker brain, though.
Yeah, like it goes there. Like,
but you are able to control it.
Yeah, because I do have that thought of, well, I could be here, And the other thing is, like, this particular person, like, I would love if something works out or whatever. But I've met enough people lately where there's interest that if anything developed with any of them, and not in a, oh, I'm trying to decide which one, but if anybody made a move, I would take them up on it, of these few people that I'm thinking, that I've met lately. And so I guess it's that difference of not having the scarcity mindset of, oh, if this person doesn't work out, then there will be nothing. The big difference is this was the first time I was going to ask somebody out. I mean, and I still will if the thing works out. I've never asked anybody out. Like, I just realized that the other day, like, other than in an online dating situation where it's like, hey, you want to grab a drink or whatever. But that's a very safe expectation that you're on that site expecting to be asked out. And so at some point, you're either going to ask the other person out, they're going to ask you out, or you're just going to ghost each other or say never mind or whatever. But I've never actually met somebody in person that I had natural feelings for and said, hey, I think you're really special. I'd like to get to know you better. So life skills I didn't expect to be learning at 47, but
well, that's kind of cute, Andy, thinking that it's the first time you taken the leap to ask someone out. So
I mean, I probably asked my wife out originally when we first started, but it was more like we were hanging out like, oh, we should go to a movie or something. But that was you know, I was 17 at the time. So
that was a couple of years ago.
That was, yeah, fuck, that was 30 years. Holy shit, 30 years ago. You know, when you think, like, I keep thinking that high school was 20 years ago. And then I had this realization that it was like 25 years ago. And then I realized that high school was actually 30 years ago. But I was thinking, well, the beginning of high school was 30 years ago. But actually, the end of high school was pretty much 30 years ago at this point.
I know.
That's messed
it's
up.
Like my friend Scott and I would talk about that before he died. Like we met, let's see, if he was 60 when he died, or 66, he was just right before, he was 60 when he died. And so we met when we were like 15.
Yeah.
So that was like 35 years that we were friends. No, 45 years.
I was going to say, add some to that. See, that's what happens. You do the math and you're like, oh, wait, that math is wrong.
And let me tell you, one of the first things that he said to me was he noticed me because I was wearing this black gauze kind of top. And I think I had a sunburn or something, so I wasn't wearing a bra. This was like 10th grade, so my titties were still standing out, big and proud, you know. And he's like, he noticed, let's just say.
Sure.
And it's like nobody would notice now. If I was braless, it'd be like, yeah, no.
Oh my God.
That's funny.
No, yeah, it's like I was just doing the math. Shit, Laura and I have known each other for 34 years.
Yeah, that's weird, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And I have some other friends that used to be like in my neighborhood that I've known for 40 years. 42 years, like since I was like 4 or 5 years old. It's like, how crazy is that?
I know. Getting old is not what it's cracked up to be. The thing is that nobody really tells you that you don't feel old when you're old. Like, I don't feel like I'm in my 60s. I'm gonna be 62 next month. I don't feel old.
Well, and that's, neither do I. Like, I feel like I'm in my late 20s. Like, I'm just out doing my thing. And
I mean, my knees tell me
you like break a hip or something. All of a sudden you're like, oh shit. That's the thing. You get this reminder where you're like, can't do the things I used to do and bounce back as quickly.
And in my head, I'm still like a party girl. Like, let's go drink. You know, it's like, when was the last time I went out and party? Like,
I don't even know.
I don't either. I'd be willing. I just don't really have any party friends. And also, I'm a little bit more responsible. Like, I don't drink and drive anymore. So that's just too much of a big deal for me because I can't just jump in an Uber. So
it'd be nice if there was like a service, like an Uber service, where you could drive to a place, drink, party, and then two people, like a car would come with two people and one of them would drive your car back. So you could just put the scooter on, drive home, and then the other, they'd get back in the Uber car and drive away, you know?
Yeah. But I've always thought about that for bridges. And I know there are bridges that do have people at each end. Like there's one I remember reading about, there's a really like scary bridge somewhere and they have people at each end that will get in your car, drive it over, and then get out.
Okay. Oh, nice.
They should have that at the Narrows too, just on the one side.
Right. Yeah. They'd always
Hey,
have to.
I guess if there's a need for, now I could drive my scooter down to Hitchin Post or Jersey's. So if anybody wants to party at Hitchin Post or Jersey's,
Do they still do karaoke at Hitchin Post?
Not the last time I was there.
Yeah, last time we were there, they weren't doing it.
Yeah,
So,
that's when we ran into Emily.
it's funny how many places like never, it's not that they didn't recover, but they didn't re-implement certain things after COVID that were staples in some of the businesses.
Yeah, it is really interesting. And like how you can go and just go to a certain area and like all the businesses are closed down in that little strip mall or whatever, you know.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know.
It's like in Vegas, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't stay open as late. You know, it used to be in Vegas, everything was always open.
Right. Yeah.
But
and that's even around here, a lot of the bars that used to be open until 2 are closing at midnight, or only open at 2 on the Friday, Saturday.
Right. Hello.
There.
Dave just came in with the dogs, so they all had to run in and say
hi. Howdy.
They're always like, we just went, they have to show off that they
want to be on TV too.
We all got bye-bye.
Yeah. So
the weather would be nice. If the weather would be nice, I could go with Andrew during the day and go somewhere.
Yeah, you could go for
because I'm not going to work, and no, we're not sick. It's just the day program. So if somebody saw me and tried to narc on me, it's not really, I wouldn't get in trouble.
Yeah, you're not cutting because of being, that's fair. Right.
But the weather, I just like, I don't like going anywhere in the rain. Gross.
Ugh, yeah, I know. And I do have to say that I have been doing a very thorough deep cleaning of my place yesterday and today. Part of that mindset of, if you want to bring somebody into your life, like I'm in a place where I'm just ready to actually explore maybe being, dating somebody more so than I have been in the past, whether it's, my special guy or someone else or whatever. But I look around, I'm like, oh, I'm not prepared for that. And if I want that to be how I'm, part of my life, I need to have my house in order. So I'm just getting some clutter dealt with that I've had hanging out the last 2 months with all the travel and busy stuff. I'm just I usually have my place really clean, and I haven't the last 2 months. So now it's like, that's kind of step one anyway, is getting my place in order.
Right. That is one thing they say, like if you're trying to manifest a relationship, like a serious relationship, like get used to just sleeping on one side of the bed because you're making room for that other person. Or parking your car on one side of the garage, that.
Yeah. I've heard people say leaving a nightstand drawer open, or something like that. And I actually ordered new sheets yesterday.
Oh, yeah. I kind of put all that together. I'm like, oh, he's nesting, or I guess he's not nesting. Kind of.
Yeah, and I did that, and I'm gonna pick up new pillows.
New underwear too.
I did 2 weeks ago because I needed to. I didn't have time to do laundry. Actually, underwear is one of the things I quite frequently buy. I just like to have them newer. Like, I don't like when I don't know. I just like having a variety. I like them to match my outfits. In case my pants come off, I want things to be in line.
You want to be color coordinated.
Yeah. And sometimes like I'll have a new speaking gig and I've bought new underwear. Like, I'm gonna treat myself and go to my new gig in my new underwear. So it's something that I actually have plenty of in that regard. But when I moved out, I was like 7 years ago when I got divorced now, I guess. And so like my bedding and stuff, it's not like 7 years old is so awful, but it doesn't match the place I'm in now. And it is kind of worn down, and I'm in a different chapter in a different place. So that kind of reminds me of that period of my life when I was going through getting reset. And so just starting fresh is just kind of the next level up for me. And so I feel like it's important to do physical things to reinforce the mental changes you're trying to do. And that's just one of them for me right now. So.
Right. That's really good. That makes me think like, okay, so what do I as far as like, okay, I sent out my avails to some people. How do I make room like on my calendar for all the bookings I'm going to get? Like what's something I need to do, make sure like all my merch is ready to go, or,
Right.
it'll be a good way to start thinking about that.
Like ordering more stickers or cards to give away or pass out, or like all that kind of, if you got booked for like, what would you need to have in your suitcase if you got booked for a show with 500 people tomorrow?
Right.
And then order that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. So, but yeah, I guess that's just where my head is right now. And I have a chapter of a book I'm working on that is a story. I'm a contributing author in a book that has multiple authors' stories in it. And so I need to get my piece done. I wanted to have it done earlier in the week. I was working on getting it done today, and I was not in the right headspace. And
what's like the topic?
I need to share a story, like a story of inspiration. The book is called Winning the Wellness War, and WAR is an acronym for We Are Responsible. So it's different people giving inspirational stories of things they've gone through in life. And there's many different snippets that I could pick to choose because it's just one piece. So it's not like I'm trying to tell my entire story, but do I want to talk about coming out? Do I want to talk about getting fired and resetting my life? Do I want to talk about different relationships with different people in my life when I came out and how that changed?
Mm-hmm.
Do I want to talk about my feelings around, not being able to come to terms with myself early on? I'm just trying to decide what, and I have bits and pieces of each of these things started. And so it's not a matter about, oh, I don't know what to say with each one. It's just a matter of like, which one do I go with?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's interesting. I need to write some more stuff. I really enjoy writing.
Mm-hmm. And you're a good writer. When you had your blog stuff coming out before, it was really fun to read. I don't know if fun's the right word, but it was really good and really made me think.
Well, thank you.
Inspiring. Mm-hmm. So
I have this body wash that I use.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Dove antibacterial or something like that, but it smells so good. But it smells like one of the casinos in Vegas.
Oh, interesting.
And so every time I take a shower, it's like, oh, I smell like I'm in Vegas. I just love that. Really nice. The smells are like I was thinking about putting perfume on before I came in here to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, you can't smell me. That's silly.
Well, but if it makes you feel good, then it's worth it.
I know.
I have a cologne that I've been using that somebody I follow on TikTok was like, here's a couple good scents. Like, this is what I've been wearing lately. And he smelled good when I hosted a show for him when he was here at the comedy club. And he was like, these are the 2 scents I've been wearing lately. And so I went and I smelled the 2, and one of them I didn't. I was like, that's not really for me. But this other one I really liked, so I bought that. And it's just been kind of nice to have, because that was another thing. The cologne I used to wear was just like whatever my ex-wife had given me. And
yeah.
And I've tried different kinds, but haven't really found anything I liked. So I haven't really worn it. I just haven't put cologne on much. And I've had a couple that I've had, but I'd wear them every once in a while, but wasn't really stoked about them. So I was kind of excited to have that. And I've thought about buying, they have like those sample packs. They're like $50 of like, 20 or 30 different little bottles. And I've thought about just getting one of those and just working my way through them and seeing which ones I like. Because I wouldn't mind wearing different scents different times.
Yeah, I like that too. I have one that I used to wear and I love it, but it's very subtle. And so nobody ever commented on it.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's kind of how I gauge whether I'm going to continue to wear a scent, is that I want other people to say, ooh, you smell good, And this one particular fragrance, nobody ever mentioned. And I love it so much. It's really a nice perfume. So I've been wearing Betsy Johnson, and that always gets a lot of compliments. Well, but the other day I was like, I'm going to put the cashmere mist on, you know, just for me. Yeah. And I just had put it on, went and got my hair cut, and she's like, oh my goodness, you smell really, you know, just really, oh, nice. Really like it. Like, oh my God, somebody smelled me. That's what I've been, right. Buddy. Well, that's because I'll put it on, like, if I put it on too early, like, if I don't put it on, like, right before I go out, then it's, and even, like, if you put it on right before you go out, then I feel like a couple hours later, it doesn't even smell anymore. And I just feel like, am I supposed to keep, like, a bottle in my pocket and just go in the bathroom? Yeah, well, I've been really self-conscious since I told you about that kid. Sat down right next to me and asked me if I had a dog. It was like, okay. Oh no. Gotta do something about this dog smell. Do you smell dog on me? I've never smelled dog on you. It's hard to smell through the Zoom though. I've never actually picked up a dog smell on you. I know people who have a pet smell about them, and or who I'm not thinking of anyone in specific, but I've encountered people where you're like, oh yeah, you have pets. All right. Well, I would just say to everyone that hangs out with me, if you smell anything icky on me, dog smell, anything, please let me know, because I'm very much, I don't always care what I look like, but I always care what I smell like. But also, when I've been at your house, I've never had that overwhelming pet smell either. You know, sometimes you go walk into a house and be like, oh, there are dogs. For sure. But you know, you do go nose blind sometimes. So yeah, I'm like, but the thing is, like, when I haven't noticed that when I've gone into your house. And so I remember my son saying that one time to me, because he has a bigger dog and they were living in a small space. He's like, do you smell dog in here? I was like, no, I think it's fine. He's like, I haven't smelled it, but you know how you don't once it's your place. So he was like trying to figure out the same thing. And well, like, luckily our Chihuahuas don't stink. Yeah. You know, they're short hair and they just don't. That would be Milo would be the only one. Yeah. So, and yeah, that's when I've noticed is when people have big dogs, especially if they have a couple big dogs inside or lots of pets. I try to keep, now that it's warmer out, it's nice because I'll leave my windows cracked all the time, just to have fresh air flowing through. And then I try to light some candles and and I'll notice, like, if I come home and it's just like closed up during the winter, it's just I just don't like. Well, leave your windows open and maybe some squirrel will come in, and then you could have a pet squirrel and you could go on TikTok with it. Like Peanut the squirrel? I don't know, but there's a guy that has a squirrel. He named him Richard. Oh, his house. So there's one squirrel named Peanut the squirrel that a guy like actually has in his apartment. That it's adorable and he's TikTok? Cute, but I can't. Is it on TikTok? Yeah. Huh? Is it on TikTok? Yeah, it's Peanut the squirrel, and I just can't date a guy that has a squirrel for a pet. I can't even date a guy that has a cat for a pet. So squirrels, raccoons, snakes, lizards. Oh, I can handle a dog. I don't know. Huh. Oh, I have to tell you something. Talk about a miscommunication. So 2 nights ago, I was at the bar across the street talking to my bud, who's one of the regular guys there, and we're having our philosophical conversation, and we're at the far end of the bar, and then 2 gals come and sit down next to us, and they were out, like they had like mom's night out or something, so they were just kind of celebrating whatever, and they were fine, but just, you know, whatever. And then next to them, another guy came in who's a regularish from the neighborhood. I've seen him around, but I see him in there like not as often as I'm there, but you know, once a month or so. And I just look over at my friend, and we had been talking about dating type stuff or whatever at the bar, just everybody. And I just look over him and I just like, this is my problem, is that guy dates women that guy dates women. And he's like, are you kidding me? Because I thought this guy totally looks and acts gay, right? I was like, this is my problem, is that, believe it or not, this guy actually dates women. And he's like, are you kidding me? And it's like, I just can't even believe that. And I was like, I know, look at him, right? And he's showing his cat pictures of his little kitty cat all up in his face and all this stuff to the ladies and whatever. And I'm just like, and he's got his mannerisms and all the things. Come to find out, he thought I said that guy beats women.
because a few minutes later he goes, how do you know he's a misogynist or something like that? And I said, what? He said, you said he's a misogynist? I said, what are you talking about? He said, you said he beats women. I'm like, no, he dates women. And this is how I know that we're all getting too old to be in a bar.
Yeah, good thing you got to clarify that, because that could have became like a real rumor about the poor guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, well, you know. Someone later, I know, I said that exact same thing. I said, I am so glad we cleared that up tonight before this went any further.
That's funny. Somebody sent me, I'm not going to mention any names in case she doesn't want me to, but somebody sent me a poster from a comedy show that had a bunch of guys on it. Did they send this to you too?
I might have seen that same poster from the same person. Yeah.
Yeah, and said who, like, on this would you have sex with? And I said, well, is that one guy gay? Was like the first thing. She's like, that's what everybody always asks about him.
I know. It's funny how that works, where you're like, and that's part of my thing with this person of interest is, I'm sure he's gay. I feel like there's interest in each other. And all I want to do is make my intentions known and say, if there's interest, I'd be happy to find out more. But more often than not, the guys that I'm attracted to, it's not obvious. And so it's like, and then the ones that I think, I'm attracted to that guy and I think he's gay. And also it's like, oh no, he's not. And I'm like, okay, well, I give up.
You needed to start, you just maybe need to start being more attracted to people like your Twinkie friend, Twonk or whatever it is.
Twunk.
Where there's like no mistake,
Right. And he's a good looking guy and I love him as a friend and everything.
Yeah.
We had that conversation when we first were hanging out. We're like, we're just clear, like we're not interested in each other, right? Like, so that we're not hurting each other's feelings, hitting on other people. Like, like we're like, oh God, no. I was like, well, thank you for being so sure about it.
I liked him. He's fun. He and his friend there.
It was his birthday this week, so. Yes, and he was my wingman for last week's situation, and so anyway. But even then I started getting into my head, well, what if this guy was actually just hanging out with us because he was actually interested in Twunk and not me? But I don't think that was the case. But
well, there's only one way to find out. Well, there's a couple ways to find out, but
yeah. And unfortunately, I just got to wait it out right now and let things happen.
I know that sometimes stuff like this happens and then you don't see them for like a month.
Yeah. And you know what? And it could be that just the whole thought process is good exercise for me. And it might be that someone else walks into my life next week and I don't pass up the chance because of this opportunity, this situation, so it's all good. Just,
no, Dave's yelling at the dogs. That is what I love about you, though, is that when we can talk about things from all different perspectives. Like we can say this is, but I've also thought of this and I've also thought of this. And maybe this is, I love that about you, that it's not just this is the way it's got to be, I
try. I just feel like if it has to be a certain way, whenever I've had that in my head, that's when I've been the most disappointed. And I've overlooked something else that could have been great. I don't know.
All right. Well, then I think we should leave on that note because that was just lovely.
I love that. Well, it's been a pleasure to chat with you again today, Cheri. And I am loving
it. Check this out later on like YouTube and just see how we look in orange.
I'm going to go look for that. Yeah, I'm going to go look for last week's right now.
Okay. All right. Goodbye. I'll talk to you later.
Bye, everybody.